On the 3rd of June, a massive fire broke out at an unregistered nursing home in western Sri Lanka that cared for elderly and people with intellectual disabilities. At least 13 people lost their lives and 6 others were wounded in this tragic incident. A staff member at the facility has alleged that one of the patients, who was reportedly chained, was among those who died in the blaze. This revelation has sparked serious concerns about the living conditions and the treatment being meted out to patients at such a care facility. More details in this report.
Have we abandoned the most vulnerable section of our population, the elderly and people with intellectual disabilities, and left them with no option but to live dangerously? Well, inside this privately owned nursing home, more than 70 people once lived. Many of them were elderly and some were struggling with mental health issues. The facility is reported to be notoriously cramped, with 71 people cramped in a space meant for just 15 with beds.
They are a mental patient. It is really hard for me to look after them. I am very old, in my 70s. I also lived after getting medicine from the clinic. I can't run after and look out for them every day. My blood pressure increases. Then after seeing it on my phone, I found this place and sent them here.
On the evening of 3rd June, eyeglass cases, medicines and reclining chairs lay scattered among the charred remains of the nursing home in Anguruwatota, a small town about 55 kilometers southeast of capital Colombo. A massive fire had swept through the building, leaving its vulnerable residents trapped in narrow corridors, lined with mattresses and pillows, with scarcely any room to escape. At least 13 people lost their lives in one of the deadliest fire incidents on the island in years. Among the victims, police noted, was a 17-year-old boy, the youngest to lose his life that night. The survivors from the fire were moved to another nearby home managed by the same organization.
It was a huge fire. I couldn't figure out what had happened. The neighbors and the fire brigade officials put in a major effort to save most of the people. We sent the injured to hospital in the car of a neighbor. The people who we saved are now being looked after at a nearby school.
What is of grave concern is the revelation that some patients were chained at the facility, a practice that likely contributed to the high number of casualties. One staff member, Danuja Chaturanga, said that 2 people were chained, one of whom died, and the other was rescued after being united.
There were 2 people in chains. They were hard to look after. Can't move even a bit. When we did work or looked away, they ran away and escaped. They were chained to a plastic chair, and they had taken the chair and gone and gotten stuck in a wire fence before being brought back. There was another one who had gone into muddy areas and paddy fields with wounds on their legs. That's why we have to keep them in chains.
Police have arrested the owner and director of the home on suspicion of causing deaths through negligence. A magisterial inquiry has been completed and investigators are still examining the cause and origin of the fire. Initial findings suggest an electrical short circuit, but the official cause has not been confirmed. It has also emerged that the facility wasn't registered as a nursing home. Officials reported that the facility had received multiple warnings over time and had been instructed to meet basic regulatory requirements and safety standards. At the same time, questions have arisen about why government institutions continue to engage with the facility despite its unlicensed status. Accusations have been mounting of systemic negligence and a failure to protect elderly and mentally ill citizens.
We keep them in a room. We cannot even provide them with electricity, as there is a risk that they may harm themselves. Therefore, it is not suitable to simply lock the patient alone behind a door and keep them separately in a room, because that may further affect their mental health.
The victims, many of whom were already vulnerable due to old age or mental health conditions, deserved protection and care. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a building that violated basic safety standards, with some even chained to their beds. As the investigation proceeds, Sri Lanka faces the difficult task of holding those responsible accountable while ensuring that no similar tragedy occurs in the future.